Hi everyone, welcome to this live food design webinar. I'm Dr. Francesca Zampollo. I am the founder of the online School of Food Design, and I'm here today yet again with, I think, the sixth of our webinars in this food design thinking. In this food design webinar, let me do this. Okay, sorry, I had a clinch. So welcome to all of you. As you guys know, the purpose of these webinars was really to put together a group of people, to interview people who do food design, who are food designers, the eating designers, but as well as the researchers and the food innovators, as we've seen in the past few weeks. So today is our, I think, sixth webinars, and our guests are going to be Soledad and Augustina from Uruguay, who are business partners in these ventures that they call Cuchara. And we're going to... So welcome to you guys, and I'm going to give you this virtual platform in a moment. Before I do that, of course, I want to welcome all of you guys for being here, if you're here with us live, or if you're watching this as a replay. And even if you're watching this as a replay later on, let us know in the comments below from where you're connecting, whether you're watching us live or whether you'll be watching the replay. Let us know in the chat room or in the comments below from where you're connecting and what is your involvement with food, or just food design, or just your interest in food design. And of course, if later on if you're watching this as a replay and you do have questions for our friends from Uruguay, you can write them in the comments below, or already in the description of this video, you will see the link to their website, and so you will be able to connect directly with them. Or if you have questions for me, of course, comments below, or whatever you want, Facebook, Twitter, I'm everywhere, so whatever you want. Okay, so I want to start this lovely webinar and with these lovely people, and today we're going to talk about food innovation, because Soledad and Augustina at Cuchara do both food product design for food, and eating design, so a very well-rounded food design studio. So today we'll be talking about food innovation within food design, and also creativity within food design. So I want to give this virtual platform to you guys, asking you to introduce yourself a little bit, and also individually, and also how did Cuchara come about?
Okay. First, I'm gonna present myself. I'm Soledad. I was born in Punta del Este, this place we were talking about a minute ago. We live in Montevideo, but I was born there. It's 2 hours from here. And I am an industrial designer, and I specialize in food design. I studied food design since 5 years ago. I started with that specialization because I loved gastronomy and I loved cooking. My whole life it was around food, from good to bad things, sad and happy moments, but it's always around that. All my family cooks and have restaurants and all that, so I always had it in my DNA. And when I found out food design, and I could put together design and food, it was the greatest moment. So in that moment, I knew I had to do food design. Also, when I finished the school, I was feeling like I needed to design things that matter, like the essential things. I started working in medical solutions for people with disabled and all that. And then I found out about food design, and it was like, okay, I have to do this because food is essential to us. So I don't design furniture or that things. I prefer the things that make us human. So that's why I'm doing food design.
That sounds actually very lovely, and I completely empathize with that.
Okay, Francesca, I'm Augustina. Thank you very much for having us. It's a real pleasure to be here. And I'm 26. And my background is a little different from Soledad. I came from the discipline anthropology, so from social science. So how I get there? When I finished high school, I have a lot of interest: photography, cinema, art in general, literature, and all. Of course, I was madness with food. So when I have to choose one career, it was really different interests. So I went a 1 year trip and I spent 1 year traveling. So when I came back, I decided that I was going to study anthropology because I thought in that time that the tools and the methodology of discipline, um, because of study culture and people, it was able to mix all my interests and make my own mix. So that was what I did. And while I was studying anthropology, I've been cooking a lot. I manage a coffee shop and some catering service. So when I have to decide my thesis from what I was going to do the thesis, it was clear that I was interested in food a lot, and I started to studying anthropology of food. Anthropology, I don't know how it says in English. So I started to study this, and I was amazed by the subject, but I was not pleased enough because in the research lack of the practice, and the practice of cooking lack the research. So there were two different things that I couldn't make them happen together. So I went to a big casualty. I don't know how to say.
I don't know.
But I arrived to a food design course it was given by Pedro Reisig 1 month in the university. So when I find food design, it was like the perfect uh, complement from this research and practice. So and with the subject of food that I was really into it. So I decided that that was I was it was what I was going to do, and yes, um, I'm totally the dyke.
Okay.
So sorry, I'm very out of practice in English.
No, your English is perfectly fine. Don't
Sorry
worry.
if I'm being a little bit. Okay. So today we are totally dedicated to Cuchara and to food design. I also part of a group in the university, it's an interdisciplinary group that investigates and works with food issues. And I also the coordinator of the node Uruguayan node of the Latin American Network of Food Design. In Spanish, it's spelled Latin American Design. So yes.
And
How we meet?
How we meet? How do we meet? We were going in a trip to Buenos Aires in Argentina to see an exhibition of Ferran Adrià, the chef. That it was about creativity, and we didn't know each other. But in that group that we went, she was there, I was there, yes. And we made a connection, a really good connection. And then after that, she was working in her catering service, and she got called by the client. He wanted a catering service, and I was already starting with this project Cuchara myself with 2 partners, but they are not here right now. They are not part of Cuchara right now, but they were. So she called me and asked me if I want to be part of that big project, that big catering service. So we start working together, and we transform that catering in a food design event, and that's where all started. Yes. So from there, we're still working together.
Yes, Cuchara was born like 1.5 years
ago. Yeah. We are not hearing.
Brilliant. I was just replying on the chat room to, I think, Bettina, and she's from Uruguay, and she's saying hello from Uruguay, and she's saying congratulations, Cuchara, for this webinar. So you have fans already. So that sounds lovely that Ferran Adrià has brought people together, right? That's So my next question is a question that we all get asked very often, and I'm sure you two, we have talked about this, and you two are asked this question very often too, of course, to all people who are from those people who are approaching food design for the first time. But it's still a question that I actually like answering, and I like even more asking it to other people. So I like very much collecting all these answers. So my question to you is, what is your definition of food design?
That was so hard, but we have like some kind of definition.
Yes, it's still in process.
It's still in process, of course, but we think that food design is a complex discipline that includes a process of design, and it begins with a research. And we think that it can generate solutions to problems of the society or some client. And I don't know. This is important, and it always has an interdisciplinary approach. You always have to work in teams with different people with different backgrounds. And you have something to say too.
Yes, this is a matter that we discuss a lot. What is food design? Sole has
a methodology for because I come from industrial design, but so, she doesn't. So
yes, this we discuss this a lot because of that. Sole is very clear with the definition of food design has a methodology of design putting into food. But I came from social science. I didn't know the design methodology before I started studying food design. And this is a thing that I question a lot, that if food design always implies a rigorous and expert methodology. Because it happens that I came across a lot of really interesting projects that don't put this expert knowledge and still have really good results and positive solutions. So yes, I'm not really sure about the methodology part. Also, although we always apply it in our jobs, but I think that the most important thing of design is like is where a place that a lot of knowledge and disciplines converge to propose positive change to food. And I think that is the important thing. And there's the discussion about if it's a field, if it's a discipline, a philosophy, a way to conceive food. I think that is still in discussion and in discovery. For us, it's very interesting to discuss all these things because it's a thing that we build every day.
Yeah, what you say actually, Agustina, makes a lot of sense, and it's something that I've been thinking about a lot too. The way I see it is that a methodology. By the way, I don't think there is one methodology.
No.
One, right? Not even one process. There's many, and everyone has their own, and they can. And even if you learn one, you can adapt it, etc. But I think of a food design process, specifically a food design thinking process, as a performance enhancer. So to me, if you use it, you are guaranteed that you have way more chances for a better, more sustainable, more meaningful, more impactful, more valuable, more emotional, whatever result.
Yes.
Having said that, as you have noticed yourself, there's many people who are like naturally actually, I don't know if there are a lot of people who are naturally creative in the sense that all the time they have a project, they are going to shoot out something amazing. I believe that it's more likely that there's many people, most of us, who once in a while we just have that brilliant idea that just pops up and it's already perfect and it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So in this sense, a food design methodology, a food design process, in particular, from my experience, a food design thinking process is just a performance enhancer. It just gives you a lot more chances.
Yes, of course.
And I also think that the more you practice with a process, the more this process becomes embedded in your type of thinking, and the more likely you are to come up with brilliant ideas later on
Yes,
your
of course.
process, right?
That's why we always apply it in our work.
Yes,
right.
Because we have to work every day with that. So we can't wait that moment of, I found out this. No,
Exactly.
we have to do it every day, all day. So
Yeah,
we always use methodology.
Exactly. When you have the need of repetition, I don't know what the word, then it's when you know what. But before we move on, I just want to point out that we have Santiago say hello from Mexico. So hello, Santiago. And we have Valentina from actually Punta de Este. So we have a lot of people from Uruguay who are not watching the soccer game match, but are actually watching you here instead. How lovely. So welcome everybody, and of course, whenever you have a question, just shoot in the chat room and I will read it out loud to our lovely ladies from Cuchara. Okay, so my following question is another question that I always like to ask people, because everybody has a different perspective, and in this way you always have different interesting answers. And the question is this: from your perspective, from your own experience, from what you have lived within food design so far, what can food design do? In other words, what are the things that only the food design discipline can do and no other discipline can do? Or what is the one thing or the few things that the food design discipline can do better than other disciplines?
Okay. This is
this is a good question. It's difficult because while it's not a definition of food design, it's really difficult to answer this question. But one thing that we believe that food design is really important, and that's why we choose to do it, is the capacity to put in the table new solutions and innovative process, products, and service to come out to a positive relationship with food. And the thing that was talking Soledad before, that is the disciplinary work, not to
work alone, but to work in teams and with different backgrounds. That is, we know other disciplines do that, but not around food. So that is a thing that is different from other disciplines. And also, I think what is really, really good about food design is that you are always asking yourself why, everything why. Food is so traditional and so common to people that when you ask why is like that, what do you eat like that, what do you have, like what do you cook like that, and all that is different. That is like you're always questioning and ask yourself why. And that's different. Food design is, in that way, it's unique.
Yes, I think that preserves like all the complexity of the phenomenon of eating and food itself. So it's and to have a inquisitive attitude to the things that we do, we eat, and start to realize that we have like some paradigms that limit the reality. And okay, we have like education, and for imitation we are used to do some things, and with food design and this a lot of questions, we start to realize that okay, this is one
perspective.
Yeah, one's perspective, and like it's one perspective is subjective, and it has the potential to change and to be reinvented.
Yes, it can be changed and be innovative about. I don't know if we answer well, but
Yeah, you did it brilliant. I think this makes a lot of sense. That I like the fact that you have realized that, and you were wondering, and you were reflecting on the fact that when you ask why to people, they do certain things with that, with regards to food, then the thinking becomes a bit fuzzy. And it's so true, and it goes back to what you were saying before, because that you were mentioning that one of the reasons why I think Augustina, you were saying this, one of the reasons why you got fascinated about food design was because we need food, right? But the interesting thing is that not only we need food, not only food is an essential need without which we don't live, but at the same time, food is also one of the main ways with which we have recreational activities in a way. So if we have a little something to celebrate, the first thing everybody does is either cook something special or go to a restaurant. There's food involved, right? Every celebration there's food involved. So food is both things, both very essential and very luxurious in a way. For us, not necessarily economically, but as it is embedded with values, etc.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
Yes, we also thought about that food design puts the person in the center of the questions. So you're always designing around it, around what people think, what people do. And it's not always other disciplines do that. I think even in design, when you work with design, you put the person in the center. But that is a way, I don't know, I think food design, especially food design, you always put it there. You have no way to not put it in the center.
Exactly. I agree with you. Okay, so having said that, now my question becomes, what is the thing that thrills you the most about food design? What is the thing that you do within your work or think about within your work that really makes you excited to wake up in the morning and go to work?
Okay, I think that it's not one thing only.
No, it's not one, but the most, the most, I think it's because we are always working in different projects, with different people, with different thematics. So you're always learning something new. So you don't know who is gonna call you or who is gonna need something the next day. So it's not a routinary work. You're always changing and learning different things and meeting new people and experience everything from scratch. Sometimes we don't know everything. We don't know how to make chocolate. Now we do, but we didn't. So that's great that you're always learning and growing and growing.
So it's both the surprise as well as the learning process that you get from every project.
And also, of course, the results when we put something we design, we in an event see the smile of the people, the happiness, the conversations they have, listening. That's great, of course. To see someone use your product and like it and enjoy it, it's great.
Yes, it's really magic when you see the product or the service in the reality, because we always work by prototypes, or we have like the perfect idea with all the details in our head or in our mind, and we work. Each one works in a different thing, maybe, or both in the same. But you start like to put all the pieces together like a puzzle. It's excellent to see what was in your mind to be in the reality and the response of the people. It's really good. Also, I really like working with Soledad, and I think that the team is really good. And because of our different disciplines and personalities, also we learn a lot
from each other
every day.
Absolutely.
And that's a really good thing. And also, we start recently. We start doing workshops of creativity, food design, and
innovation.
Yes, and innovation, and that was a thing that surprised us, because the teaching part we didn't have it, or we have it maybe, but we didn't realize
know.
that was so
Rewarding.
Yes. So
Rewarding.
So sharing the knowledge, experience, and learning from the others who are the participants of these workshops is really good. Also to meet people that are interested in food design, and it's great.
Spread the joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
We always do that.
Yesterday we went to Punta del Este to spend a whole week, a
whole
day with 20 people from different ages, disciplines, and it was
great.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah, and I think you guys, we can see pictures of the workshop from yesterday from your Instagram account.
Instagram stories.
Which is Cuchara _ no.
Food design.
Cuchara food design.
Okay, Cuchara _ food design. So people, you can go and check it out. Absolutely, I agree with you. And now I think it's time to get into seeing what you guys actually do, what you have been up to for the past 1 or 2 years that you guys have been together. So can you share with us a few of your food experience projects? You call them food experiences.
I'm going to share the screen now.
Yep.
So
it's up.
Food experience is the thing we have worked the most. Maybe because the previous work that we have that was the catering service. So when we start, a lot of clients call us like for the catering instead of food design. So instead of saying no, we took the opportunity and transformed the service of catering into a crazy installation. So when the clients start to see the value of these projects, start to request
more.
Yes, to request more, and so yes, we work a lot in the food experience most last year.
Yes. So this is one of our projects that was an food intervention. It was a tasting. They usually make tastings for people. This was for a client that sells and imports food, vegetables and fruits. In this case, it was mushrooms and asparagus. And what we did was to create a completely different way of tasting. I don't know in some other countries how they do the tasting in the supermarket, but here is like a table or a plate, and you put the cheese in the squares, and uh, I don't know how to say that the wood stick in the cheese, and you take it, and that's it. You try the food, and you have almost no interaction with the food or with the promoter.
That sounds as boring as it is international.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes, okay. So and here in Uruguay, is the tasting approach is in supermarket. It's it's very used.
It's really common that you find every supermarket you go. It's always a tasting.
And of course, with a lot of brand presence and yes, no interaction with the product or with the person that is serving.
Yes. So this one, we try to first of all we study the products, the nutritional parts, where they grow, and how can they make you feel good or makes good for your body. I don't know how to say it, but we created this table that is a forest, because mushrooms and asparagus grow from the soil, from the field directly. So we try to recreate that experience that you take from the soil, this vegetable. But of course, it has to be cooked to be delicious. So the seller, the promoter, was there cooking them. You can see it in the picture. It's like a pan cooked together, both flavors together. And then we put behind, I don't know if it's some other, yes, we put behind information, nutritional information about the products, always referring to the good things that they can give to your body. And some other thing is that these are two imported products. So here they are very expensive to people, and that's why people don't buy it, because they don't know about how good they are, and they are also expensive. So this,
yes, they don't know how to cook it.
No. So this way of showing that fresh product was a good way to understand how to cook it, to understand how good they are, and how good they are for your body. And we presented in this forest that I told you, that is all made gluten-free, because of the company wants everyone to try it. So it has no dairies, it has no gluten, and everyone could try them. This is a dirt that is all eatable, made with mushrooms and seeds and a lot of things. So that this was a challenge for us, because the supermarket is used to that table with the squares and that's it.
Yes.
So when we presented that, when we were building this in the supermarket, they were all alarmed. We all, no, this is not going to work. This is horrible. We can have this here. People is not going to. Yes, but we did it anyway.
You
And they
persevere,
love
thank God.
it. They love it. When they saw this, they say it was the best tasting we had. We want to repeat this every month. So they saw the response. And so that was a good thing.
Yes,
after all.
The aim of this project was to improve this interaction, that it's really always really simple, and for the person that was doing the shopping. So it was a challenge to make it come closer to the stand and learn to the product, interact with the promoter, and
learn how to cook.
Yes, how to cook it, and gives a memorable experience.
So did you find initial resistance from the producers or from the shop?
No, from the store. The producers were happy to have it.
You ended up winning over the shop as well.
Yes. The producer, this was the last project of the year. So in all the year we did 5 projects with the clients. So the clients already know our work and confidence. But
yes,
from the store is there. Yes, because.
Okay. And then this one, it was for the same client. We did it before the mushroom one, and this was pineapple. And they always need to show the product as it is, as natural as it can be, because they sell that. They sell pineapple. So we did a really simple thing. It was just a table with coconut in the base. That is what you can see, with eatable flowers. Only we improve a little bit the taste of the pineapple. If you wanted to mix it up with these things, that we had acai, that is a Brazilian fruit, in dust. We had cacao, like chocolate, dust chocolate, and the coconut. And it was like we turn around the stick with the fruit. Instead of putting in a plate, we put it in a surface that you can take yourself and intervene. And of course, the design of in the surface, in the base of the stand, you can see some graphic design and decoration, of course.
Yes, and there is not appear in the photo, but on the top and like on the roof of the stand, there were like little lights and colors, like it was like a pineapple fest.
Yes. This was a really simple work. The last one, the mushroom one, and this one, we did it in only, I don't know, 1 week or less. We didn't have much time. This was the first one. This one the project that brought us together. This forest garden, this fruit garden, was the first project we did for this client and together. We prepare a 4 meters long table with the forest, the garden, and we, of course, use the fruit as it is because of the request. But the banana we had to put it in chocolate because it oxidates. It puts ugly and brown if you don't cover it. So we used black chocolate. And this was for an event that not was a tasting in a supermarket. It was a lunch event for Audi, the car company, and they wanted something fresh. So we prepared this. We all, of course, thought about which fruits go with which fruits, how to combine it, how to cut it, how to put this all together. And of course, the dessert is eatable, is brownie, chocolate brownie. And that was a good result because everyone was eating not only the fruit, but the dust with the dirt with the hands. And that was a really fun part.
Yes, this was the project that the client realized like the value of these interactions, because we didn't only design the fruit, the product, we also designed all the decoration that was with
was surrounding
some in the background, that was like a garden, and the uniform of the promoter, and also in all this texting experience we design and we pay a lot of attention to the speech of the promoter, and that is a really important thing that it wasn't having into account before. This is another of the same client. This was a really challenging one because
they wanted to promote lemon and to people to eat lemon,
to taste lemon in a supermarket. So when we are used to this tasting, like pizza or chocolate or some cheese or some products more luxury than a lemon. So okay, we thought that nobody was going to go to taste water with lemon or juice of poor juice lemon.
Yes.
So this was a good challenge, and it was a very good one because people spend like 5 minutes talking with the promoter
about the lemon, really about the benefits,
yes,
about how can they drink it in the morning or in the afternoon, why, how to combine the lemon to have it in their everyday life. And also we decided to make shoes with this, 2 different type of shoes. One we use the whole lemon with the outside part and the inside part too, because it has a nutritional value, really important nutritional value. But also we did pure shoes only with the interior part of the lemon, and that was the thing that attracted the people to know how to use the whole lemon. They didn't realize they can do that, so that was a good thing. And also, of course, the speech that Augustina recently told is really, really important. And also, we came up with the idea to make shoes because of the production process, how the things are going to get in the supermarket, because it's a really difficult place to work. So that's why the easiest way was the shoes. We thought about ice cream and a lot of other ideas, but this was the perfect match for the circumstance, the space, the people, the ones who have to cook or to prepare the shoes. So that's why issues.
Yes.
Francesca, are you there?
Yes, I'm just giving
okay. We didn't. It's too much time. Only us talking.
No, I like to give you space. I'll ask my questions later.
Okay, great.
So this one was one of the latest projects. We have to design a toasting moment after a protocol ceremony. It was for the Institute of Visual Arts, and the place that it happens, it was in the Museum of Visual Arts. So many artists were there, and we have to. The aim was to reflect two things. First, they want to.
They were celebrating
Yes,
a change in the area because they were becoming an institute.
Yes,
so that was important for them. And the other thing we wanted to reflect is the art part, of course. And of course, we had no time to do this project. So we know it's a little literal. We could do so more creative things, but we understood the time and we understood the people. The people that was going to be there, there were artists, but also governmental people from the government, and they are so structured, and maybe we had to do something that they can be a part of and don't feel rejected or feel like, no, I won't play with that. No.
Yes.
So we created a simple table, but a fun table.
Yes, it was about taking these hanging cookies as a canvas and use it to create their own work or art by using chocolate ganache, lemon curd, edible flowers, meringues, some things that were disposed in the table as they were
painting or as there were textural things to put in the work of art that they can create.
Yes, so each one makes his own piece of art, and they have like a little boxes of color with some messages of artists, so they can took like a souvenir or eat it in the moment. And this was a good experience also because we checked the art out of the museum space, because this was in the garden, and that was like one of the aim of the institute to take art to all the society and not to put it only in the museums and in some structural spaces. And yes, we try to transmit the concepts related to visual arts, such as expressions, transformation, or composition. And in this, as you know, Francesca, in this eating experience, one of the things that we work a lot, and all the food designers work a lot, is to make people interact, to relax, to show their creations one another, and to have fun. Yes, and in all this, the food becomes more much than a cookie with toppings. It becomes a thing with new meaning.
Yes, a way of communication. And also, in this case, we designed little boxes that had inside a phrase from local artists, so you can get inspired by that phrase, and then you can make your work of art in the cookie. And then you could also take the cookie inside that box if you wanted to go and not eat it there.
Okay, so this was one eating experience inside of a project that was a workshop. It was a whole day workshop of creativity and innovation in the food industry. The client was Impulsa Alimentos.
It is a program inside the.
It's a program that supports companies in the food industry to grow. For example, they teach them how to export and all the business thing and all that stuff. So they give workshops to these companies that are small and starting. So they hire us to make this workshop of creativity to innovate in the food industry. So because it was the whole day, we have the lunch in the middle. So instead of I don't know, eating a simple sandwich, we try to use it to be part of workshop.
Yes,
So,
we designed it to trigger creativity. That was the second part of the workshop. So we put this in the wall that was a little different from they always they always do they always eat a sandwich. So they had to take it from the wall and they had to read the post-it that we put in there that triggered some things. Some of them were, if you read it and you take action on that, you have to meet new people, talk to new people. You have to take a moment to rest. You have to take a moment to flavor the food,
to listen,
and you have to take a moment to listen. So if you go through these four actions, yes, you are helping yourself to be more creative. So that triggers creativity for the next 3 hours that were the creativity workshop. And also we have, sorry, we have this catapulta. I don't know how to say it in English.
a catapult, yes.
Catapult.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how it is in English, but yeah.
Catapult.
Okay. It were chocolate truffles that could be powered with a catapult. So it was the aim to make people interact and play. And if, as Sole said, we were talking about exercise the creativity. Okay, we think that they have to do new things and in a different way to experiment, to interact with one another, to break the paradigm. For example, that food is supported on a table or is not allowed to play with food. So we change this and we break some paradigms to the people experiment and be more open to the second part. And also because of the Impulse Aliment of this program, we have like we have an aim to reflect this concept to impulse to movement to action to reflect all the values of the program itself in the lunch.
This is now we change from food experience or eating experience from designing products. This is one of our products that is a fruit holder. We designed 3 types of them. It was for a gift, company gift, but we still want to keep working on this and to sell it, but we can't yet, but we will. This is a fruit holder, like I told, and we thought about how food has to be storage, to be fresh, and to last long outside the fridge. So we had to, first of all, the company that asked for this had their main products are banana and pineapple. So of course that has to be the star of this product. So we created some spaces especially for this fruit that if you save it like that, it will last longer. And also it had some other things to save potatoes fresh and tomatoes, of course, fresh. And they had a little
Herbs.
herbs, of course, that you can use in fresh to cook, and it was all around saving food the best way, the best way. Yes.
So this is another project. It's more like a research than a product itself. These are food letters. It's something that is used a lot in the food design world. It came, I think, by the in food leather Rotterdam. They are developing these products. Katia uses it a lot. Katia Grucher. It's really difficult to
See, to pronounce
it.
But
And let's say we'll use it too. These food leathers and others in the food design world. But here in Uruguay, it's not development. It's not developed. So there is no one who's doing them and using them at the moment. So we are investigating if this may be a possible way to reduce fruit waste and give a commercial value beyond the experience and the novelty of these fruit leathers that, okay, these are edible material, really flexible, really good, really sweet.
really yummy.
Yes, really yummy.
And we use, in this case, the whole fruit. We don't waste anything. We use the seeds, the outside part, the inside part, everything. So that's why we always use it as an example for zero food waste. And also we try some leathers. We prepare them with fruits that were leftovers or were not going to sell because they are ugly or they have some not commercial parts. So we took that and we created these leather fruits that now they are leathers only, but we want next year to develop products with these materials.
When you say leather fruit, you mean these are non-edible materials that you can use to manufacture? Okay.
They are
edible.
Okay,
We want to
edible.
create-
They become like candies.
Yes, this is edible, this material, and we want to create products that are edible.
Yes.
So
From
that
snacks to plates to a lot of things.
a lot.
Yes, Fruit Leather Rotterdam. That is there is two boys. I think I don't know where, but it's Europe, and they are developing this, but not edible from fruit leathers that are already like in the bush and
Right.
they put like a process and that is not edible. It make the product last long.
No,
Right.
but we want to make it edible because we prepare it with real food that is edible. So we take like that waste and give it a value, and you can still eat it.
So what is
Yes.
the texture here? It's like a leather, right? It's not hard.
It's
No,
like a paper.
It's like a paper.
It's like a paper. It's a thin paper, flexible.
Yes, it's really
difficult
interesting to
and we have
experiment.
some here, I think.
Maybe we can show it. It's really fun to play with and to experiment the mix of the fruits. When you first put in the hydrator, I would say it has a completely different texture. So it's like a surprise what is going to came out. So it's really fun. So yes, this is not a product; it's more an investigation that we want to develop to next year, to bring a solution about the food waste and all that. It's more like to communicate the problem and yes.
And I know this is now a prototype, but where do you envision the unwanted, possibly wasted fruit to come from? Supermarkets, restaurants?
We have a lot of places because here in Uruguay we have a market that every producer takes their products. Everyone from every part of the country, they always take their products to this marketplace. That is a big marketplace.
Yes, a central market.
It's a central. If you have a supermarket or you have a store, you have to go there to buy this.
Yes, it's like the center of all the distribution.
And that in that place, the waste happens a lot. That is the place that divides the pretty fruit from the ugly fruit. So that is a good place to take the fresh fruits, And also we are now studying what happens in supermarkets, because we already talked to producers and they have almost no waste, because the pretty things they sell it to the supermarket, but the ugly things they or give it to porks to eat, or they make compost, or they make always something, or shelly, or they always make something with that. So the problem is in this market, supermarkets, and of course restaurants, but we didn't get there yet.
Yes, when we talk about ugly food and beautiful food, you can't see it, but we are doing like with the fingers, like in brackets, because it's not ugly or beautiful food.
Yes,
It's just the meaning that our culture is used to give to the all the red and beautiful apple, and an apple that is has not the more common aesthetics is not consumed. So we want to criticize this and to show the problem
and to bring a solution, a circular economy solution.
Exactly, those are exact words. Yeah.
Great. This one, and I think it's the last project.
Yes.
It's our last project. We are now developing this, and we are so excited because tomorrow we present this project to a governmental agency that can give us financiation, fundings, exactly. So to develop these products. So
we just luck because it's tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow we present this, and if we win, we can develop this big project.
Yeah, for 1 year.
This is about native fruits from Uruguay, because they are not valued in the cultural aspect. People don't know them because of our historical background. We were colonized by Spanish people, so what we think is our background in food is always Spanish food or Italian food or Portuguese food. But we have a lot of things that are from before the colonization, that are these fruits. So we try to embrace that and give value to them, so that people can know how they look like, and the taste and everything. So we created these chocolate pieces that are filled with these fruits that are four: guayabo, pitanga, arazá, y butiá. These are the four fruits. We have a lot more, but we started with these four. And for this, we try to design everything: the texture, the shape, the packaging of the product, the communication. But the objective, the important part of the project is to communicate and to teach about these fruits.
Yes, to the Uruguayan population.
Yes. So we found out that the chocolate is a good way of it's a good way to try, to try new flavors that you don't know when you put chocolate on it. Maybe people
want to eat.
So, and if it's candy, of course, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you have just the fruit that is given to you, you can be a little bit unsure of how it's going to taste like, of course. But if it's covered in chocolate, you are still unsure about how it's going to taste like. But you think if it has been covered in chocolate, it means that it's absolutely edible. It's perfectly fine. So it's just a matter of trying it.
Exactly. That's why we use that as a strategy for people to try it, because some other governmental institutes try to sell it fresh, but people didn't buy it because they were only in baskets, and there were no one to ask what it was or how can I use it.
How do I eat it? Do I peel it? Do I not peel it?
Exactly.
It was native. It was from
they thought
country.
they was
From Brazil.
From Brazil or something. They didn't know they were from Uruguay.
Right.
So that's why we want to embrace and give value.
Yeah, to put value and express the use of native fruits and other native ingredients, because this is like the first product, but we want to develop
a line of products.
That not only with fruits but with other herbs and other ingredients that we have in our country. So here we done a deep research and development. We consult local producers and we work a lot with them. So that was very interesting to learn about the food that we also didn't know too much, and also about chocolate. We didn't know how to use it, and well, we learn a lot and we develop the feelings, the textures, the combination. We investigate different techniques to process the fruits. It was really fun also. And we decide the morphology of the chocolates. This is a picture from that.
This is a prototype.
Yes, it's a prototype. We made a creative process, and then we use digital tools. This is 3D printing to generate the molds that we didn't want to use the standard ones that are sold here in Uruguay. So we want to the form also transmit this message of what are the fruits, the history, and the product itself. So returning to this story, we are to design this. We were inspired by the shape of the fruit itself, and also some archaeological remains of the indigenous people that consumed this fruit before the conquest. So this was like the inspiration, and also some flavored tablets of chocolate with this.
Yes, we try different textures and different ways of processing this.
Yes. So
it was interesting.
Yes, with this project we want to promote like the food heritage and also the gastronomic value of the national territories. These foods are very used in the rural sections,
but not in the city.
Yeah, but not in the city.
And they are in the city. Here in the city they have a tour that walks you through all the native trees that are in the city, but no one do that. No one goes, and no one here. Only the tourists know about it, but people here doesn't. So we are going to use that also to promote the product and to promote the food.
Yes, and also we want, because all the people that work and know about these foods, they are in the rural parts of the country. We also want to give value to those people and all his knowledge.
Okay, that sounds lovely. Well done. So I was thinking, while you were talking before about your different projects, and I was thinking, going back to one of the first projects that you showed.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one in the art gallery, you were saying that you had a little time to actually design the thing, but
you always have a little time.
Right? Exactly. So first of all, that's how it works. Sometimes. But you said that it's important at the end of the day to understand your target user and to design for them. And I really liked how you were able to balance. Because sometimes I think when we get the chance to do events, we would want to go like all out there, and we would want to do things that nobody has ever seen, and fireworks and things dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah,
right?
But sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Right. Sometimes we don't have the time, but sometimes it's not what it's needed. Sometimes our target user, as in your case, as you have noticed, is so far away from this world that that would be a jump too far. So it was lovely how you were able to kind of recognize that and design something that was introducing them to a different way of seeing food and using food.
But not too crazy.
We can't go too crazy most of the times, because they are not used to that. They are gone. We have to make it like even.
Yes,
a little crazy, but not
it
that
happens
much.
in this experience that people came out of the museum, and like this was in the garden, they didn't realize that it was the catering, the brindis table. So they thought that they were like art crafts or something like that. So we had to go to invite people. Okay, come, you can have some food there and some
Yes,
drinks.
of course we have to explain the
Because
experience,
the
what you
people
can do.
doesn't come. Yes, it was so different that they didn't realize that was the brindis table.
Yeah, they
So,
need
yeah.
they need a little bit of. I mean, when we present a product or something in to them without, they have to be invited in. It's very different when you
Yes.
invite people to an event, so they know that they're
I
going to
think
go
so.
there. So you have a different. So in that kind of situation, as the first experiences that you were showing at the supermarket, of course, you need a way to get people to feel comfortable to come in. Very interesting. One thing that I wanted to say that I found lovely in your fruit part, I really liked how you put a little bit of space for plants, pots.
Yes.
So if there is a fruit cart, it's brilliant that you have fruit and everything, and seeing that much fruit together, to me it's kind of a way to bringing us a little bit closer to what our food looks like and where it comes from.
Yes.
But with the addition of the plants that I really like, it's like a step forward, a step further, one more step to really emphasize. Let's go back to where this stuff comes from.
Exactly. We also were asked to design this for a family, a group of 5 people. So the product has to charge a lot of fruit for the whole week for 5 people. So it was really heavy when we put all the fruits inside. That we saw was a render, but a 3D render. But we did the product. We couldn't took pictures because it was so fast that we had to deliver it.
Yes.
So, but when we put all the fruit together, it was like, oh my god, this is so many kilos of fruit. But that was the idea. It has to be
colorful
for 5 people the whole week, that they could have to promote the eating of the fruit too.
Yes, because you have it there in a bag or
See
something.
it,
You forget about
First,
it.
you maybe you produce more waste because you don't.
You forget
Save
about
it.
it and then you have to throw it away.
But also, if you see the fruits, you see it all the day and in a really beautiful space and full of fruits, it's also like a temptation, a more temptation to use the fruit and to incorporate to the diet, to the
to everyday
life that here Uruguayans they are not too.
No, they are not used to eat
too many foods. So that was like.
Yeah, but I think that this is a trend, unfortunately, that is spreading in many countries, probably most countries. So this is one of the opportunities for food designers, right? So before, as we move forward, I would like now to ask you about your creative process. So tell us a little bit how ideas come about. You know, many of the people who follow this channel and who will be watching this webinar are people who want to do food design themselves. So I think it's very valuable whenever somebody wants to share their creative process, their food design process. So how does it look like from the moment you're given a brief from a client to when you deliver your product or your event? Is there research involved? What type of research? Where do you place this research? And of course, what is the value for you of involving people in your research, in the research process, the research part of your food design process?
Great.
So yeah.
We, of course, first of all, we do the research. We investigate not only what we start from a brief from the client. In the case we are working with a client, they told us, I need this and that, blah, blah, blah. So we interpret that and we take it always a little further. We always, in this research, we ask everything, why and where and when, and we try to ask all the questions that we can, so that nothing is forgotten. We try to think about everything we can. So we make a list of these questions, of these teams that we have to investigate, and then we go. If we have to interview people, for example, we prepare the questions, we call the people, call the meetings, go interview them. Or if we have to observe, sometimes we have to observe, go someplace and just watch what happens and see how people react or interact or everything. We always do that part too. And of course, internet research to see if there is something already done that is similar to what is asked, or if it's about a material, we try to understand how it works. We also, in the research, we experiment with if it's a material or a new ingredient or something, we use it, like for example, in the case of these fruits or vegetables, we try it first. We ask for the client to give us, I don't know, mushrooms and asparagus, and we try it at home. How can we cut it? How can we cook it or give it taste and everything? So the research is a really, really good part, an important part. Even if you are working in a 2-week project, it doesn't, or in a 1-week project, it doesn't matter. It always has that part. It has to be done.
Yes.
Then
and there, and there, that what you asked, the human component here in the research, the anthropology tools and methodology gives a lot to work with,
yes,
because of that, the field work, the interviews, to be able to read underlines, to interpret how is the choices, yes, all the things that are behind the choices and the beliefs on food. That
Absolutely.
is like
and
really an important part.
And we should really remind people that most of the methods, of the design thinking methods that are at the beginning of the design thinking process, come straight from anthropology and
Exactly. All those things. Yes.
Exactly.
Really important for us. And also to be aware that the knowledge it is created in the interaction with the other. So that's a thing that we usually practice a lot, to put ourselves also like a investigation tool, our body, our emotions also in interact with the other, and also to like be critical with our view. For example, here working with the producers, or okay, making some discourse of native fruits. Okay, but we have to know that this is also like a mythology process, that we are creating some narratives, and we have to be aware of all that thing. It's important in there, like Soledad told at the beginning, the person is the center, and all the research goes from there.
Okay, so then after the research, what we do is have get conclusions.
Yes, like the concept.
Yes, we like take the brief and take all the research, and we take different conclusions that then they are taken to a creative process where we come up with ideas. for that creative process, we do many things, or depending on what it is, what tool do we use.
Yes.
But most of the time, we just do brainstorming at the first. Then, if it doesn't work, because it's two of us only,
Yes,
so it's difficult sometimes. So we try some other way, that is a tool that is called how it's called in English. It's like
connection words. In
in
Spanish, is palabras al azar.
Al azar, it means like random words
that we force and put it together.
Yes, you force relationship into the problem, and the word that is a random word.
Yes, that is
like you close your eyes and you take a book and you put your finger, you look, that word is the word that we use to trigger the creativity. Yes. And the connection with the problem. So, of course, from the research, it comes out a problem and the different conclusions.
We put in a paper a lot of solutions, and then we start to evaluating one. One.
Yes, we put the ideas. We take a big wall and we put post-its and everything. We have here, I don't know if you can see, but that wall is full. It's so white, yeah. But it's there. It's full of post-its and. So we, from that creative tools, we take the ideas that work better. No sé si pusiste compartir. No. That work better with the brief. So this is a diagram of the process that you can see. So we conceptualize with this process of creativity. We try to take only 3 ideas at first, and then we think about, okay, we like take them to the development part and think about, okay, how much does it cost? This is too expensive, or no? This we can do it in a week, or we can do it. So we ask ourselves questions about the viability.
Yes, manufacturing, assembling, and
yes,
elaboration.
About these ideas. We try them. We try to prototype them, or we try to.
Here is.
Sorry.
Okay, here is to use the example of the native foods. Here are like the main inspirations.
And this is kind of the process we did with the chocolate and fruit product, that the first picture down in the left corner, it was the mental map that we created. Then after that, we took the ideas and create the shape and thought about the product itself. And then we decided okay, we have to make this and then try it. So we made a few prototypes of these chocolates that were, the shape, it was different from now. Because of that, we prepared the prototypes, give to some people and see the responses. And then we took all the questions, all the answers, and change the product basing of in that experience.
Yes, what Soledad said is interesting, because it's this methodology is always a round trip. We investigate, we divide, we prototype, we tape, and it goes and comes many times.
Okay, I'm gonna take this out. Okay, so after that, after we have an idea, we take it to development. So we develop. If it's something with food, or we need a wood expert or whatever, we design the product in detail. Maybe if we need 3D models or whatever we need. We prepare technical drawings. We go to the producer or to the manufacturer and work with them until the product is out. We work all the process, even when the product is ready and is ready to come out. So we don't. We always do all people never ask only for one of the parts. It's always the whole process. So
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you guys for sharing this with us. And let me say, I would actually suggest you for idea generation, either my food design thinking methods, either idea hive or idea market, because those can be used by a few people, and yeah, they are additional ways to push within the quantity of ideas, because as you know, you want quantity so that you can then select. Brilliant. So would you like now to tell us a little bit about how you include sustainability within your food design approach?
Okay. We already talked about some things. I told the circular economy, for example, but we think we are young. We are a really new business. So we had it in our DNA. We already had it. We always work with sustainable products or with no waste. We always have the no waste is always in our projects. Everything we do, we put it to that filter. So we try to, of course, not use plastics, or the way we serve the things are not in things that you can throw away. They are eatable, or they are reusable or recyclable. It's like in our way of, we live like that every day. We do that in our homes, so it's difficult not to think that way. It's like I said, it's in our DNA, so we apply it every day. Also, we here in Uruguay last year was a forum of circular economy that was great. That was so interesting. We always go to these places. We always go to the meetups with people that are talking about this and are making projects about sustainable products or this recyclable or biodegradable products. So I think it's in ourselves. That's why it's always in our projects.
Yes, and that's why. Sorry.
No, go for it.
No, that's why we want to develop our own projects, because when we are like selling a service or doing like to working for another one, for example, from these clients that we show before, so maybe we have to give up to some of our values. So doing projects that are from us and from our interest, we reflect yes these values that Cuchara has.
Yeah, and I think it's actually refreshing to hear that it's within you, right? So it's beautiful to see that the youngest the food designer, the more embedded a sustainable approach is within their thinking, and it's very it brings up a lot of hope for the future. So my next question is this: what has been your greatest challenge so far, and your most rewarding moment?
Okay, this is a good question.
Yes,
it's a happy question.
Yes, it's difficult. We think that it's difficult for begin from scratch, like
begin a business in food design in Uruguay from scratch. That was the biggest challenge.
Yes, it's the biggest
challenge
because it's a daily challenge.
Yes, but of course, no one knows about food design. They know a little bit about design, and they are already confused about it. So we also have that responsibility to show what it is, to tell about it, to explain it as well as we can explain it.
Yes.
So it doesn't get confused with the food styling or other or pretty things that always happen.
Or counting watermelons.
Yes. So I think the biggest challenge is to entrepreneur in this crazy field.
Yes. And something that gave us a lot of joy was the museum art project. That it was the first time they call us
to do a food design project. Because the other things
use the word food design.
Yes, because the other things they call us to cook something and we turn it around. But in that time they call us, okay, I want you to make an installation. I couldn't believe it.
What a wonderful word.
And of course, having this chat with you, Francesca, is
of course it's really rewarding.
Yes, when you write, okay, guys, you want to be in the webinar, it's a really good.
We couldn't believe it.
That I really hope that your most rewarding moment is going to come tomorrow. So good luck for tomorrow. And whatever happens, let us know so we can post it on Instagram and we can put it in the description in this webinar, because now we
are going to know 1 month.
Yes, we don't know until 1 month later, because they have to examine all the projects, and in a month we will know. Okay, and so you will know too.
Right. Whenever it is, let us know. Absolutely. So in the beginning, I asked you, what can food design do? Now I would like to shift the attention and have your perspective towards the future. And I want to ask you, what do you think food design should do? To all the young or less young in the sense of when they approach food design for the first time, people out there who are approaching this discipline and who want to do food design, what should we tell them? Where are the territories that you think food design should go to? Where do you think food design is needed, and where do you think food design should be brought, because it could really bring a lot of beautiful things?
Great. I think food design should work in the industry first of all. So I know we like to embrace little entrepreneurs, but I think it should work in the industry, because there is what you can really make the change. Because if you work in an industry that makes a lot of products and everyone is eating that, and if you can go there and speak like us do, or have our spirit or something, or sustainable spirit or healthy way of thinking, you can influence that way in the industry. So I think
you can have a bigger impact.
Yeah, you have exactly. You can have a bigger impact.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I completely agree. And but being
in the field. You were asking about the field, in which field?
Okay. Yeah.
I think we already talked about it, but sustainable approach, the always thinking about people and the surroundings about around these people. I think they had to think about a lot of things together, not isolated investigations to make a solution, to create a solution. So I think sustainability is one of the main important important subjects to work on. Yes, and the cultural value, maybe to take to really know the place that you're living in, to know how people are, how people behave. I think that is really important to work in a good way with them, to make good design, I think.
Yeah, and this makes me think about something very, very important, actually. we always say that one of the things that everybody could do with regards to having a more sustainable lifestyle is buying local, right? And
Yes.
And if we look at also slow food, it means also valuing the companies that are smaller and that are local.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
as you said now, a light bulb came into my mind, and I actually think that it's very important for us to design local. It doesn't make a lot of sense for a Uruguayan food design group to design a product for the Japan market, because you could do all the research that you want, and you can have all the best tools, but at the end of the day, you yourself don't have the experience. Yes, there are a lot of research that you can do to get a lot of empathy, but to really understand and empathize with people, in this case, that will be using this product or whatever in Japan. But I think it makes a lot of sense to design locally, because you want to learn stuff that you, as a human being, besides a food designer, can bring on in your own life, and you can use every day.
Yes. Totally. Yes, I think that here it's important to design locally, and to also to generate a community that thinks food design locally and with the imprint of Uruguay, because this food design is really international, and we are few people that we are practicing. So yes, we are talking with you, and we talk with a lot of people around the world. But I think that it has to be are responsible for us, and we are trying to generate a community inside Uruguay to start to thinking food design. Okay, what are the opportunities? What are the difficulties to develop a food design that is local, and to think locally, and to try to resolve problems of the country.
We have a lot of problems to solve, so we have a lot of work to do here. So yes, of course, local is really important.
So we have a question from Santiago. I'm going to read it to you. Eating is like a religion for many people. It is difficult for these people to stick to traditions, to change the way they consume, eat, and waste. Absolutely true. So he says, the question is, how would you convince, I have the feeling this is a very easy question. How do you invite these people to change their eating behaviors, the way they consume, the way they perceive and get rid of the food? Is food design the solution?
I think yes, there is. Yes, it's food design the solution.
When we always have in mind this, like the tradition and the conservative of food, we always talk about how food it's so universal and so inside the culture that is resembling of the language, the speaking language. So it has a really big component of communication. So because of that, it has to be long in the time, and it doesn't.
It doesn't happen
quickly, all the changes. But also the industry, the food industry has a lot of developments. If we think the first Homo erectus that cook some food, and today, there are a lot of changes and really quick ones. But we also have to have this in mind that food is a very conservative and traditional thing. And for example, this with the native fruits, it's really difficult to change the sweets of Uruguayan from dulce de leche to pitanga. So we have this in mind, and at the time to innovate, we have this like the fight between conservative and innovative. But I think that a good way to resolve it and to bring the taste is doing food design, doing the research, doing all the methodology.
And be patient.
Yes, and be patient.
Because you have to, like she said, it takes a long time, because you have to create a new way of communicate this. It's like a new language, so it has to set in a group and for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think through food design you can do that, and be patient, of course.
Exactly. And I would also add, Santiago, to maybe, first of all, tackle one of these things one at a time. So a little bit tackle about the aspect of eating behaviors, and then a little bit of the way people consume, and then a little bit another project, the way people perceive food and how they can get rid of food. So one thing at a time. And then secondly, to me, it goes to education. So food designers can educate with products, can educate with food services, and that is the type of education that food designers have today the power to do, like today, immediately, to adults. But I also think that equally important is education to the adults of the future, to the adults of tomorrow. So really going into school and teaching to kids and using food design as a playful tool, food design solutions as a playful tool to teach these basics of how to be a decent human being on this planet, a productive and not a harmful human being to this planet, harmful to the planet, I mean. So that, I think, kind of helps a little bit answering the question. So one thing that I like to ask people with different perspectives, so I'm going to ask to you too, what is it that people want when it comes to food? From your own perspective, from your own experience so far, what do people want? What do people look for? What makes people excited about food? And this might be something that you've learned just observing users at your experiences, etc.
First of all, I love to say that in our experience, people want meaningful things, things that make them feel some way, things that they can make, if it's an experience or a product, or make it their own, and to as I make it my own, I can tell about it and tell a story about it, and it's not just a product. It's the meaning of it that makes me think something or do something. I think people want that, and also here, of course, I think everywhere, but in Uruguay, you have so many different way of living, and some people are only buying a thing, object, because it's an object, and some others are looking for something more. They already have everything they need, so they think about other things that they will want and are experiences and meaningful things.
Yes, we think that it's in a world full of products and service, and when the people can have the can consume and can have all a lot of things that they want, uh, the act of consume of consume something, it has no meaning. So the people want to be a part in a project with meaning, and also they are like empowering itself and being more critical for some things like plastic, local products, and on the industry. And also in this, like it's becoming a distrust in the industry, and things become more the same, more homogeneous. Like the culture and the individuals start to fight more to the singular product, the unique, the emotional thing, and so that is a thing that is happening, like the economy of experience. And here is when art, creativity, and all the stuff became important, and it's a thing that we use a lot to propose things.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So going back to a little bit to what we were saying before, with regard to, inspiring or maybe guiding those who want to do the food design, what is the number one advice that you would give to a food designer and to those who will be designing the product, the services, etc. of the future? What is the number one advice you would give?
I think, this is easy.
To go out.
It's like one, teamwork, go out, empathize.
Get out of the office.
Yeah.
Live yourself experiences. Learn, put yourself into a kitchen, work in there, practice, and go out and talk to people and try to be more adventurer, more
critical.
Atrevido, ¿cómo se dice?
I don't know.
Atrevido.
Well, the Spanish community has understood you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love that. Go out there, because food design is not going to happen on your own. Mm-hmm. You have to meet somebody else. You have to network. You have to get your group together. So go out there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And also, maybe don't be afraid to once you have. First of all, take inspiration from these two lovely ladies. One comes from industrial design, another one from anthropology. None of them has studied culinary arts, and yet they are producing edible stuff that people are going to eat. So culinary knowledge is great, but it's also something that you can have maybe one team member that knows about it, or it's something that you can outsource from the outside, or if the projects are simple enough that you end up working on, you can do it on your own. So don't be afraid of not knowing how to cook. Same thing, I think, for those who come from culinary arts. Don't be afraid that you don't know how to design, right? The other half of food design, you know food, you don't know how to design. Don't be afraid of that. I always think that you don't need a designer to design, and designers are going to hate me. You don't need a designer to design. You need a design awareness. You need the design process. You need the tools. And then, because at the end of the day, what do designers learn in school? They need
That's why I can work with her. I can work with her because she didn't start design, but she understands perfectly how it works, and we can use it. So
yes. And we didn't learn
culinary arts. I study a few months and I make courses and all that, but we cook. We practice it. So
I always work of cooking, but like autodidactic way.
Right, exactly. And also, as we were saying before, I would say don't be worried to go and knock at big companies' doors, right? Yeah. The food industry, because too many food brands, food companies have not yet realized the power of design, the power of including design in their own process. So it is useful for us to go and tell them, hey, this is what you could do with somebody with my own knowledge. So don't be afraid of, and you'll have many people who are going to say, what are you talking about? As every single person probably that we meet in new workshops, and you have the same experience that, what is food design? It's food styling. No. So it's just a matter of patience, and just reminding people. And as we were saying before also, the big food brands, the food industry is where, unfortunately, a lot of the products around sustainability in food is created. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And also I'm going to include agriculture, also food production and food industry, is where a lot of the products around food is created. And it's also, for this same reason, the best place, as we were saying before, to have a big impact. And because, as you were saying before, sustainability is within us, you said, because we are young, right? So it seems to me that the youngest the food designers, the more aware of a food designer one is, like as an open mind perspective. So this is a call. Food industry, if anybody out there is watching this webinar, go out there and search for a young food designer. They're going to be great, and they're going to teach you a lot of wonderful things.
Great.
Okay, so my next question to you is, what is your biggest achievement or discovery so far? The biggest thing that you have realized just only from when you started Cuchara, and that could be turned into a teaching moment for people who want to embrace food design from now on?
Okay, that was a really difficult question.
We talked a lot
about
the most difficult one.
Yes, because I don't know, we don't have one.
Maybe I think everything.
To give like one advice, I think that it's good to communicate the word food design and to evangelize that and put it in your speech to get to know. But
absolutely,
to be aware,
never take for granted that people understand the word food design. Always take the time to repeat it.
Never. So a strategy that was good for us is to maybe erase food design word when we are going to make a proposal to a client or to some project or so. But it's difficult because we want to put food design in the speech, but
you want to be proud about it. But
we put food design. Sometimes we get a distance. Oh, I don't understand what it is, or I think I put styling or any.
We say it almost the times in the end of the conversation or at the end, or when they ask us how our name Cuchara food design. So it's in the end, but
maybe like that advice, I don't know.
I think everything about food design, the process, the methodology, the creativity, the way of seeing things, it's everything. Everything. If we had to give a teaching class or a class of food design, I think we will talk about everything. I don't know if one thing is not.
Yes, the advice is to we start from scratch, and we did a lot of projects for our own or very cheap, like to because once the value is in, the people start to realize that this is important, so it starts to yeah.
We realized that we needed to show people what it is and explain it, and then they understand. So yes, that was one of the things we learned from the beginning. Yes. And we change the word or to use less the word and to show it.
Yeah, and we are practicing this with the products of chocolate and native foods. Also, because we want to revalue all these foods, we want to have a product that
represents us,
and it is material. It is easier to communicate and to show people and to not only the big companies but to all the people to have an access to every costumes and the final costumes and to start showing customers and to start showing what we do and what are our values.
Brilliant, I love it. So, having said that, how do you hope to influence the world of food design in the future?
Okay, for me, this question, I don't know. In the world,
your legacy. What would you like What would you like to be remembered by in the future?
Okay,
maybe something that you're gonna do in the future.
Local, yes. Design for people, design for local, design for everyone.
Yeah,
we don't want to design things that are exclusive or only for high. No, we want to design for everyone, or to make it accessible to everyone. So maybe our legacy is to leave products and this service for the people.
Yes, me thinking about me, Agustina, and not now with Cuchara, with this institutional role that is the node Uruguay of Soledad and Augustina design. I think that my legacy, I want to make this the thing that we were talking before, and that Soledad is into it and it's helping me a lot, and we are concerning together, like the Uruguayan community of food design, to give like a local imprint to food design and to start to moving here in the country and start to solving problems local and to start to giving like the meaning of Uruguayan in food design and to work in it and to create networks and community. I think that is a really good job and really good challenge to do.
And if that inspires other food designers in other countries to do the same, that's great. That's a really great goal.
Yes, we wish that here in Uruguay food design grows and develop, and much more people start to working with, and the people that are working with start to communicate and to work together.
Okay, thank you so much. So we should go towards the end. It's almost 2 hours. And
Sorry.
no, it's totally your fault because you have too many interesting things to say. So before we get there, before I ask you my last question, I wanted to know if anybody knows the score of these Uruguayan soccer match that has been going on.
I can.
Okay, so we can find out if this has been worth it or not. I also want to thank in the meantime everybody who has been following us live, and of course if you have any questions this is a good time to ask it because
We are 2 minutes left. Sorry.
Right, go for it.
It's 2 minutes left to finish the game. We are winning 1-0.
Okay, brilliant. So it's basically we are going to finish together probably.
Oh my God.
My last question is really, with this webinar, we have been talking about you as food designers and all the beautiful things that come out of your mind. I like always, in the end of my webinars, bring it back to the person and bring it back to a more personal conversation with basically people who watch these webinars know it by now. My favorite question of all time, which is a question that I ask all the time, and it relates to a project that I started doing I think now 4 or 5 years ago, and it's called In Search of Meaningful Food. I like to ask this question, which I'm about to go and tell you, because I believe I believe that the people who decide to choose to answer to this question metaphorically are kind of opening a window to their heart by answering it. I think it's something very personal, and the stories that I've heard have kind of changed my view on food and my life in a way. So my question to you both is, what is your most meaningful food and why?
Okay. My most meaningful food in Spanish is called buñuelos de algas. I think that the translation in English is seaweeds, like seaweeds are the algas, and donuts or features. It's like seaweeds with dots and then fried. And see, okay,
we won.
We won. Fantastic. Good to know. Thank you so much.
So these are they are really meaningful for me because it represents it's a very common it's really traditional in the oceanic coast in the east of the country. And I remember it brings to my summer that I spent in my grandfather's summer house all the summer, and in La Paloma in the beach. So my grandfather went to the beach to collect the seaweed, and then they were cooked by my grandmother's hand, and they are delicious. And my grandmother died 2 weeks ago, so when I was in all that process of saying goodbye and all that stuff, like one thing that put me most sad is I'm not going to eat this anymore, but at the same time it was like a really joy that this like is a brilliant and a really happy memory that I took with me, and my grandmother also like put me this love and for the food. And so yes, if I have to think in one meaningful food,
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My meaningful food is also seafood, but it's mussels mussels Provençal. Provençal is that preparation where you put the mussels with white wine and garlic and salt and parsley, and you cook it just a few minutes, and they open. Because I have a fisherman family, and I always live in the coast. I was born in the east of the country, in front of the beach, and I was always surrounded by that. And when the men of the family went fishing, that they really practice it a lot. I always eat fish and all that. The kids went with our mothers to collect the mussels, and then my mother used to still does, but she cleaned them and then cook it. So you always had that mussels Provençal for like an entry, and then we eat the fish. So every time I go, now we are in Montevideo and I live here 2 hours from her. So every time I go to my mother's house, I always ask her for prepare me these mussels Provençal. So it's like a memory of my childhood, and also the place where I live and the activities that I did. And the taste of it reminds me a lot of that. And to see my mother prepare that is also a really happy moment.
Oh, that's beautiful, guys. Thank you so much. Those two very lovely stories. Thank you so much. Yeah, as I said, two windows to your heart have just been open, and you've just shared something very intimate and personal with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with this, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching this webinar and who will watch the replay. Thank you for being here with us and for sharing with us your questions. Stay tuned, because in 2 weeks there will be our next webinar with someone from Colombia who's going to tell us about, who's going to talk to us about cocina intuitiva, or intuitive cooking. And then the following week it's going to be July, and we're going to have someone from Spain who is going to tell us about the intersection between technology and food. So for today, thank you so much, Soledad and Augustina from Cuchara, Uruguay. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to hear your thoughts about food design and see your projects and the things you have been working on. So thank you so much.
So thank you very much, and thank everyone that is out there hearing us.
Yes, thank you for having us, Francesca. It was really a pleasure to talk with you.
Oh, thank you, and it's been a pleasure having you too. So thank you again.
Sorry, we speak too much.
Oh, it's fine. I have no life, so I have nothing to do. So it was brilliant. Okay. So thank you again to Soledad and Augustina from Cuchara, and thank you all of you. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next webinar. Of course, if you have questions, shoot them whatever way you want. And as always, have a lovely day and happy food design.